up, everyone, and welcome to the return of Game and Movie. This is brought to you by Brenner Brewery. We're sponsored, where everything they do starts with art. Hey, we got an excellent lineup today. The games we're talking about, Skate or Die 1 and 2, and the movie Gleaming the Cube. We have an esteemed panel here with myself today. My name is Anthony Schwader. To my left is Corey Bauman. How's it going, Corey?
It's going well. School's back in session, teaching algebra geometry this year. I don't know, my band is still kind of playing, and besides that, not a whole hell of a lot.
Okay.
So
You been playing any games?
I was playing Pokemon Go along with 100 million other people this summer.
Yeah, sure.
Besides that, I finally decided to drop $80 on a PS3 console along with 10 games, thanks to my buddy Ross the Boss.
Shit,
So I was playing
in the 2016.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. Pretty soon I'll be caught up to 2010, and so I'm gonna. I've been playing GTA a lot. Yeah.
Oh, lovely game. Beautiful. And to his left is, for the first time ever, our friend Gary Zajakowski. How you doing, Gary?
Doing quite all right. Doing quite all right. Do you want me to tell about stuff I've been doing lately as well?
Well, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
Okay.
Wouldn't it, Corey? Yeah.
Sounds like a
Tell
plan.
us everything you've been doing.
I got an office chair. That's really about it. You know, I got this office chair, and I got rid of an old shitty couch, and I've been playing a little bit of No Man's Sky.
What do you think about No Man's Sky?
I kind of like it. I get why people don't like it.
Yeah, you know that a lot of people hate it, and they
were offering refunds.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I know about that. A lot of that had to do with, like, PC problems. I guess it wasn't really connecting right or whatever.
Right.
It was glitchy as fuck.
Yeah.
I guess more the repetitious gameplay, like, yeah, there's 18 quintillion planets, and they are all more or less filled with the same shit. It just kind of looks different. I get why that would bore the piss out of some people.
Yeah.
You spend so much time, like, collecting shit, and then, like, oh, I'm gonna go get money, and then hopefully I'll get a ship that has more slots to grab stuff, and then I want to upgrade my suit so I can carry more, so I don't have to fucking sell stuff as often. And
yeah, I hear
it's
like
kind of
the
annoying.
inventory size is really small. Too,
Really
so
small.
That really pisses people off.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying, but like you can just drop shit, and also like
Yeah,
I don't know, it's a neat concept.
Okay, right on. And I've been playing my Wii U and 3DS, mostly 3DS. I've been playing Metroid Prime Federation Force, which is, I don't know, I fucking love it. It came out to really bad, poor reviews, and like Metroid fans. When this game first got announced, Metroid fans started a petition for Nintendo to stop making it because everyone wants a new canon Metroid game and not this shit, you know, but I don't know. I bought it. I actually love it. It's got great online play, and it actually has a mini game in there called Blast Ball, which is a lot like Rocket League, if you guys know what that is.
Familiar.
Yeah, the cars that, you know, bop around the soccer ball. It's a lot like that, and it's really fun. A lot of really good online components. And also, I've been playing 3D Picross 2, which is kind of like, if you can imagine a 3D like box in your head with grids on it, and you take like a hammer and chisel and you chisel it away. When you're done with it, after you use the logic clues, you're presented with a 3D model, and it's pretty cool.
Sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah, I've been digging that. I love logic puzzles, so...
Yeah, that's right up my alley.
Yeah, I don't know. We're back from the hiatus. I think it feels good in the studio here, doesn't it?
Yeah, this is really a nice setup.
Yeah, man, brand new mics and everything. But yeah, we're going to take a little break here, and when we come back, we're going to dissect Gleaming the Cube. Welcome back. We're here. We're drinking a little bit of Brenner beer. We're feeling pretty good. We're going to talk about the movie Gleaming the Cube. I have some factoids here for all you movie buffs or just people who are curious. Gleaming the Cube, the genre is listed as like an action, drama, mystery. But I saw something online that I really liked. Skateboarding international crime drama.
That's what you, for those that like international skateboarding crime dramas, that's what you're gonna find on Netflix. It's gonna be that.
Let's get very specific.
It's gonna be that and like one other movie, and it's called A Brother's Justice.
Well, yeah, let's go into that. A Brother's Justice. It was also known as A Brother's Justice. Corey, do you know anything why it was called that?
All right, so I went to the rumor mill, and
.com.
and the things that I had heard, for one, it was shown in other countries, and so they changed the name to A Brother's Justice. I was also told that nobody knew what Gleaming the Cube meant, and it was not a very compelling title as possibly A Brother's Justice.
That makes sense. What the fuck does Gleaming the Cube mean?
So, Thrasher Magazine, there was an interview in 1983, and somebody asked a gibberish question asking the other person, have you ever gleamed the cube? So it was a reference and maybe a riff off of Thrasher Magazine.
Oh, okay.
Somebody else had told me that it was a reference to doing drugs, so they decided to can that because skaters were doing drugs and calling it Gleaming the Cube.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know if I buy that one.
I didn't buy it either. All right, he's a math teacher. I'm just saying. I don't know. I was just thinking maybe shipping crates are sometimes called cubes, and there was the shipping crate full of weaponry at one point. You know what I'm saying?
Hey.
And gleaming, I believe.
It's a stretch.
I
but
believe
like it.
is let's say Tony gleamed some fucking jelly beans the other day. You know what I'm saying?
Hey.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just making shit up.
No, you're not. It sounds all right to me.
So on TV, like in the syndication of it all, they had at some point had changed the name to A Brother's Justice.
Right, yeah, I remember
And
seeing it on
then
TV as that.
The DVD rights were bought, and so the movie that they had bought was they changed the title to A Brother's Justice, and therefore they changed all the packaging to say the same thing. I also saw on Wikipedia that, funny enough, some regions call this movie Skate or Die.
Yes, in Norway. In Norway, which is, what a connection that this is.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that might be the strongest connection we've ever had on Game and Movie.
That is pretty badass.
In Italy, it was known as California Skate. in Denmark, the video title of it was Downtown Hero. Fucking generic.
Oh, yeah.
And in France, it was known as Skate Rider.
Also,
All right.
This film was printed on 35mm film. The runtime is an hour and 40 minutes. It's a 100-minute long film. The release dates it released in USA on January 13th of 1989. So yeah, that's a long fucking time ago. It also released in Australia in 1989, Finland and Japan 1990, Argentina, Brazil 91, and Portugal with the late bloomers in 1993.
wow.
I know, right? What? It had to be outdated by then.
Can you imagine, like, the kind of work that has to go into it? Like, they're so dead set on having it released. Like, I don't know. If it didn't do well, like, no, we need to see if it's going to do well in Portugal.
Yeah, we need to.
4 years later.
Yeah.
We need to see what it's going to do in Portugal.
So the budget that this thing had was $10 million, and the gross was $2,777,000. So this movie lost a ton of money.
I
Poor
was
guys.
kind of part of that in the theater because I was offered to go see Gleaming the Cube one time.
It's all your fault.
And one of my buddies, his parents invited me and whatever, and so I went to go there, and Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure was playing the same night at the theater right next to it, and I went and saw Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Yeah, no one can blame you. That movie's way better.
If it was called A Brother's Justice, would you guys have gone and seen that instead?
No, we would have both gone to see Bill and Ted's Excellent
Probably
Adventure.
less likely. So this movie had a couple of taglines. The first one, Skate or Die.
Yes.
Yo!
Hey.
And the second one is, When Getting Even Means Risking It All. Lame. And then the third one is the longest one. All he cared about was gleaming the cube until the night they killed his brother. Yep. Yeah. So, there are little tech specs for you. The director of this was Graham Clifford. There isn't much that Graham has done. He's kind of ineffectual.
Graham.
Yeah. His name is
Grammy.
spelled Graeme, so it's Graham, maybe?
There was an old brewer named Graham Lloyd. He was Australian, I believe, and it was spelled that way.
So
true.
all right. The writer was Michael Tolkien. One thing, I look back on his profile, and he also wrote Deep Impact. So that was one of the bigger things that he was a part of. But let's talk about the stars here. The star, I should say, Christian Slater. He was also a part of Game and Movie Episode 4, Robin Hood. Not Man in Tights, but Prince of Thieves. we kind of covered him there. Christian Slater, he does an all right job in this film. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think he does a pretty good job. I mean, he's got to fake it as a punk rocker.
True.
And I thought he did an okay job. He dressed it well.
Yeah.
And
he was indignant. He acted like he didn't give a shit. So.
Right, yeah, he totally didn't acted like he didn't give a shit.
So yeah, he plays Brian Kelly, the main star in the film. I'm just going to go a little bit into his past here. He was in The Wizard as Nick Woods, and as we all know, The Wizard is a huge video game-based movie.
Mario 3.
Yeah, Mario 3. Probably the biggest one, in video game history up to that point. He was in Pump Up the Volume, a Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. He was in Star Trek 6, a little bit part in there. He was on Saturday Night Live. Another video game tie, he was in a movie as the star, Alone in the Dark. And he was the star of that movie, and Alone in the Dark is kind of pre-Resident Evil type of survival horror. Kind of what started the whole genre, really. And then he was also on Curb Your Enthusiasm, The Office, Entourage, Robot Chicken, Phineas and Ferb, 2.5 Men, Hot Tub Time Machine 2, Archer, and Mr. Robot. So he's had a good career, a lot of voiceover work, and rightfully so. He's got that fucking creepy Jack Nicholson-esque voice.
Who are we talking about again?
There's also a couple of other co-stars here. Stephen Bauer played Al Lucero, and Richard Hurd
Dick Hurd.
Yeah, Dick Hurd.
H-E-R-D. Yeah, that's great.
Played Ed Lawndale. This got a 6.1 IMDb rating. I would agree with that. It's not a good movie by any standards. It's not a bad movie either. It's like right in the middle. Might even be a little bit too generous.
There's some moments, but it definitely drags at times. And there's definite parts where you're just like, why the hell am I still watching this?
Yep.
I'm not upset overall that I've seen it.
As a kid, when I did see it, I remember I was really looking forward to going back and watching this. Mm-hmm. And being like, oh, this is going to be so fucking awesome. They're going to do all sorts of skateboarding shit and whatever. And I forgot that really of the whole movie, there's maybe about 6-7 minutes of total skateboarding.
Yeah. But it's impressive.
The skateboarding, when it comes through, it's fucking sick.
Yeah.
But But for the most part, you're just like shaking your head.
All right, we're going to come right back. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. What the fuck? It's a podcast. But as soon as we come back after the musical break here, we're going to break down the plot.
It's good, yeah.
Star Baby IPA. And Brenner Brewing. They know how to make a fucking beer, don't they?
Yeah.
So we're going to dive into the plot here. Okay. And plot of this movie. Oh, what a movie it is. First of all, we get this terrible 80s music montage.
I kind of like it.
Of them at the airport, skating underneath plane wings. And
yeah, they're going right through, like...
Pre-9/11.
Yeah,
let's be honest, that's very pre-9/11. This is cocaine days.
They're going through the landing strips and they're just ducking under things and doing all sorts of ollies and power slides and things.
Yeah, we see the credits down at the bottom. We see Brian, Yabo, Sam, and Buddy. Buddy, who is actually played by Tony Hawk. And we all know Tony Hawk. Shit.
I read his book.
Yeah, he went on to, be the star of the games Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Vastly superior games to Skate or Die, but that'll come later. Mm-hmm. So they stop and they talk to a pilot and bribe him to take him up in a plane and look for
the Pizza Hut. Oh, right.
But they do see the Pizza Hut, you're right.
Yeah, they're looking for just empty skate pools that they can go through and just thrash it up.
Yeah.
They see one at a rich guy's house.
Yeah, they do. They do end up at a rich guy's house, and they all take turns gleaming the cube, and they actually say it, in the dialogue. And when it's Yabo's turn, he pulls off a few tricks and then spills super hard in the pool.
Yeah.
And
total CTE coming up.
The cops are called to the scene, and the owners are pissed. He's like, "Who can I sue? Can I sue them? Will they sue me?"
Yeah. All the neighbors are out there. They're like, he's like, "What is this, a picnic?
Get the hell out of here. What are you looking at?"
And the whole time the kids are just laughing it up. Like, they look at the cop and they're like, "See, Kyle," and
Yeah, they're real indignant. I like the way that the kids actually do play this off. You know, they acted like skaters back then.
yeah,
They say the type of shit to cops, though, that, like, you'd get your face slammed into the hood. It wouldn't just be like, go on, get out of here. They'd be, like, taking names and writing tickets,
Yeah,
dude.
they did that today.
Oh, yeah,
Ooh,
you'd
boy.
get fucked up.
yeah.
Take that mouth to 2016 and see where that gets you.
If my dog had a face like yours, I'd shave its ass and teach it to walk backwards.
Hey!
That's, like, brilliant. I love that line.
Yeah, that is a good one. So Brian's parents, they take him home, and they aren't pleased. We meet Vin Kelly, who is his adopted brother from Vietnam. They're playing a chess game because they share a room together. And we're kind of introduced to the separation between the two, where Vin is like the smart kid, gets all the attention, the parents are proud of him.
He's very neat and tidy.
He's also Asian, which
Yeah.
is not explained.
Well, it's Vietnamese, yeah. He
He's
is
very
yeah.
Asian.
And then Brian, in contrast, is this fuck up skateboarder,
Yeah.
doesn't give a fuck, you know.
DRI posters and like
Yeah,
cramps posters.
Suicidal
listening to
tendencies shirt.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Listening to some punk on his messy ass bed. So after that, Vin's girlfriend, Tina Track, comes to the window and they both leave through the window. And so after that, we are brought to Tina and Vin's work. We see that Vin and Tina work for her dad, Colonel Track. So we have a weird little situation there. I guess they're dating at work, met at work or something. Vin discovers that there's a discrepancy and uncovers a mess up in the paperwork. Colonel promotes him to another job because he does not want him to be messing with this info
Snooping
for some
around,
reason.
yeah.
Yeah, he's snooping around. You know, like, I think I discovered someone's ripping us off. And he's like, you've been working here a while. And
yeah.
I think
You've done a good job, and I'm going to give you a different position.
Yeah,
type
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, and it's very fishy. You're LA Rams fans? Get out of here.
So it kind of weighs on Vin, definitely. Brian's mom, in the meantime, buys him new pads and a helmet, and he's stoked. He goes in his room, and Vin is smoking in the shared room. Oh, man.
Yeah,
Them things
there's a
can give
little-
you cancer, bro.
So there's
He's under
a little
pressure.
bit little bit of rebellion to Vin too. He's sneaking out windows. He's just smoking in his bedroom.
He does it right.
I like how
Yeah.
he's like, hey, I'm going to come back in this room and we're going to start it again. So he like lights another one. Like,
Right,
he's like,
yeah.
all right, we'll start the whole thing over.
Yeah, so Vin just lights up another cigarette.
Oh, it's not mom and dad. I'll just keep smoking with the windows shut.
They have a talk about grown-ups and also, like, Vin's situation at work. So later on, Vin travels to Westpac Medical Supply and breaks in to investigate. He gets caught by the owner, Ed Lawndale. This is where we first see Ed Lawndale.
Yeah, Ed Lawndale's a dick.
He is. He's a fucking prick, man.
Yeah.
So the owner takes him hostage into a hotel, and the next thing we see is the scene in this hotel where Vin is getting choked with a wet towel
Yeah.
by another lackey. And it's
Yeah,
like,
by Bobby, right?
oh, it is Bobby, yeah.
Yeah, they're like interrogating him while Bobby is got this wet towel around his neck, and he kind of gets it tighter and tighter. And then the door knocks, and it's the Colonel.
So now we're like, what is going on? These
Yeah.
two are connected? What the heck's going on here? They have a talk outside, they come back in, and Vin is killed by Nguyen.
He
Yeah.
committed suicide, you guys. I saw it. He hung himself.
So
Oh,
he,
you
he
saw the deleted scenes.
He couldn't handle that information, and so he just did himself.
then
you know?
so Bobby's like, I've choked people like this all the time. I've gotten choked like this all the time.
All
and
the
then-
time.
And so he's just dead, and then they set it up to make it look like a suicide.
Yep, that's right. And that's where that comes in. And then the housekeeping finds the body, and I love the scene because she's just like pulls open the curtains, turns around, and
Yeah, and just screams.
Yeah.
it's so stereotypical. So the police show up, and we meet Al Lucero for the first time. He's a detective with the force.
He's kind of a dick too.
Yeah, he's kind of a dick, but he's that loving father figure dick.
I care about you.
Yes.
Clean my boat.
No. Brian gets told about his brother by his dad, and he freaks out. That's outside of school. And we see a skate scene of him to blow off steam because, well, he just found out his adopted
Yeah,
brother's dead.
he goes nuts. That's a great scene. When
It
he's
is.
just by himself.
Yeah, it's well choreographed, and there's lots of good tricks in there, too. So Vin's funeral happens. Brian, after that is all done, Brian puts a chess piece.
Yeah, king.
King, that's right.
Right on. great story.
It's a little touching scene.
It
wasn't
is, yeah. That's all they had is a bond.
Yeah, it wasn't living together.
No,
or
they
anything.
shared a room.
Yeah, but
And later on, a girlfriend.
they only
Spoilers.
Share that puss.
they mostly bonded over their chests.
They were stepbrothers and Eskimo brothers. The best
Oh
kind.
shit!
The best kind. He gleamed that cube. Inappropriate. Come on, guys.
Gleaming the pubes.
I have something to say about that later.
I have something to say also. I forgot to mention.
Go
Did
ahead.
you guys not notice when they were in the back room at the store that they had a computer that had 5 fucking 5.5-inch floppy drives stacked?
Oh my god!
Did you guys not notice that?
I didn't.
Sorry, I
I'm
just
glad-
saw it in my little email note
Normally,
here.
I do notice
They had
those
5
kind
of them, and it's like, what are they? Are they installing every disc of something at once? I don't
King's
know.
Quest.
Yeah. I don't want to wait for it to load.
Nice
Sorry.
eye, Gary. That's
Sorry to bring us back 12 minutes.
Oh, hey, who the fuck cares? So Brian finds a note in their room afterwards, and he's like, I can't read this. So he goes on a quest to translate it, and he goes to a couple people, finally goes to this pool hall, and he finds out that it says something about drug
It's
suppliers.
the shipping manifests.
Mm-hmm. That's right. So after this, he gets followed by Bobby Nguyen. There's weird scenes where, like, Brian's hiding out and Bobby's driving his car, and he's stopped at a stoplight and, like, fucking floors it to catch up with him and finally loses him, okay? When Bobby gets out to make a phone call, Brian sneaks up to the car and gets in the back seat. Why? I don't know. I don't know the motivation here, but
It's just fun to get in people's cars, you know?
that are following you.
That's what I
Right.
like to do. Also, I
generally-
skitch down the road at high speed all the time.
Using that sketch.
Reckless abandon, you know?
Fucking A.
Of course you get in a stranger's car.
No
Why not?
helmet.
Yeah, I guess you're right. It plays right into his character.
Reckless abandon.
He's
Just get in a
punk.
stranger's car, you know?
Oh, you want to follow me around? How about this? I hide in your back seat.
Yeah.
Good point, Gary. So after he gets back into the car there, Bobby takes off into this weird wooded area and meets up with Colonel Track and Ed Lawndale. And he says, I'm out. I killed a kid, you know. I want a plane ticket back to Vietnam and $50,000.
Yeah.
They're like, we'll give you the plane ticket. And he's like, no! Plane ticket is easy. I want the money too.
Right.
Don't give me a jerk off hand job.
Yeah, he's just, don't give me a jerk off hand job. Which, when I was watching it, I had to rewind it to make sure that's what he said, because I couldn't believe it myself.
I was driving and watching the movie, so I just kind of rolled with it.
So eventually the scuffle blows up enough where they kill Bobby Nguyen.
That's sad.
Blood is all over the window. And this whole time, Brian's still in the backseat, undiscovered. They throw Bobby Nguyen's carcass into the trunk and speed off. Okay. The cops show up, and Al Lucero is there on the scene. He talks to Brian about it, and Brian tells him the story of what happened. But Lucero's like, no one's believing you here. You're going to get into the back of a guy back of a car of a guy who's following you? Come on. But they have a little talk in the backseat, and Lucero kind of starts to believe what he's saying.
Yeah, because Brian can't believe that his brother Vin would take his own life.
Yeah.
And the officer has no reason to believe otherwise, that
Right.
he did take his own life.
Lucero kind of starts to believe that, and the scene ends there. The next scene, Brian and Yabo go to this awesome bunker that they have in, like, the backyard. Dude, I wish I had this when I was a kid. You just go down this manhole, and it's like a bunker.
Yeah,
They have it, like,
Yabo's,
there's like a little half pipe in there.
yeah. Yabo's place
He's
is,
just going back and forth, just with a Thrasher logo above him. Yeah,
It's
pretty badass.
awesome.
Yeah.
It's
I
a
think
bad-
pretty much everybody in their youth would have killed for a place like that.
Fucking A, man. So it's a place also where Yabo builds skateboards.
Stellar hangout.
Mm-hmm. Brian then goes to Lucero's house and tries to talk to him about the death. Lucero tells him there's nothing else he can do about it, and he should just leave. But Brian's not satisfied with that. He calls a number linked to Bolsa Video and says, oh, wrong number, hang up, and comes to the actual conclusion that Lawndale owns both Balsa Video and Westpac. So he goes to Lucero's office right after that the next day and says, yo, I got this connection. But Lucero's still like, no, what do you want?
Yeah, he's just like, you stupid kid.
Yeah. He also hands him the note, and his assistant can read Vietnamese, and his assistant just reads off some stuff that's not what it says, but they were in on it together. Like, no, this doesn't say anything. And he hands the note back to him because they knew that if that comes up, we're not going to try to exacerbate this. Let's stop this kid from investigating. Here, the note says nothing. Go home. We'll take care of it. So after that, we get another montage of skating, and we see Brian talking to Vinny's grave and tell him that he won't give up trying to look for who the fuck did this to, him. And he cries, and he's like, I don't want to do my own schoolwork, which I thought was...
I thought that was amazing, too.
That was hilarious. I think we probably all laughed pretty hard at that.
In the most sad moment
I really
of the movie.
miss you, but mostly, I miss you doing my homework.
Oh, shit.
I had a paper to write, you piece of shit.
So after that, Brian meets Tina at school to try and be friends, but she says no. No, you're a fuck up. Look at you. And plus my parents won't let me talk to American boys. And so this is what really is the catalyst. He's been being told that he's a fuck up, like for about 15 straight in-movie minutes. He finally goes home. What does he do, Corey?
He jumps in the shower and then he makes himself all presentable.
Prim and proper.
And all of a sudden, this is the best. He comes out of the shower and is like, "Hey, Mom." And his mom turns around and just goes like, "Ah!" and drops some glassware. And that's the comedic part of the whole movie right there.
There's another one though too. He goes outside and his dad's pulling into the driveway.
Oh yeah,
he crashes the
and
car
he's like,
in
"Hey,
the garage."
Dad," and his dad goes right through the garage with the car.
Or what about when he shows up to school and everyone's like, "Whoa, look at him!" And that one kid's like, "Call 911."
Yeah,
What happened to him? Oh my goodness. Golly, fellas, he really does clean up nice.
yeah. That was the entire humor of the movie, just crammed into about 2 minutes.
Yeah. Brian takes Tina out. They decide that they do want to go out, and they go over to Tina and Colonel Track's house. He tries to question the Colonel, but he's like, no. They end up going out on a date, and a lot of what they're talking about is like, what does your dad do? And she's like, oh, come on. Really? How would you feel if I took you on a date and talked to you about nothing but your dad? And he's like, oh yeah, sorry. But they get to know each other a little bit better in that sequence. That'd be a shitty date, huh? So, what's your dad do? Really interested in your dad.
Didn't he say he was like, I want to find out what really happened in the war.
Yeah.
Where it's like,
he said something
I killed a
along
bunch
those
of young American kids. What do you want to hear? I blew them up.
Now I'm a Rams fan.
Can't get enough of Cleveland Gary. He was a running back for the Rams around that time.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, Brian comes home and talks to his dad, who's watching old birthday video. And Dad's really somber.
How you doing, Dad? How you feeling?
Yeah, and they're playing
work, Ben.
They're playing frisbee in the video, and Brian is just sitting there complaining the whole time. They're like, "Brian, catch it!" And he's like, "I don't want to play this stupid game.
This sucks ass."
Yeah.
Frisbee flies right by him.
Yeah.
Come on, Brian.
And I think Brian kind of sees that, and he's just been a pretty big dick his entire life too. Pretty much this whole movie is just made up of assholes.
Yeah. He realized he cared,
So they have a heart-to-heart, him and his dad, and after that, Brian is spotted by his skate buddies, and they're like, hey, we know that you're kind of blaming yourself for Vinny's death.
He's riding a bike, though, also.
Yeah, that's right, he is.
Not skateboarding.
He's not. And
he ain't gleaming no cube.
No, done with that.
Yeah,
guys.
I don't gleam, bro.
Prepping for Hell Track.
Sorry, go on.
Brian meets Tina at the Vietnamese Communist Relief Fund, where we see Colonel Track speaking to a bunch of people. I don't know what this has to do with anything.
I'm not quite sure, except for that maybe it just shows that he's a pretty higher upper kind of guy, and he's very looked up to by the rest of the community. Or connected to.
Lawndale's also there. We see him, and after that, Brian breaks into Westpac and finds guns in one of the crates by smashing it open with his skateboard. So he's like, dude, I know there's something going on now. Fuck. Colonel Track and Lawndale meet at a cafe after that, and they talk about the break-in with all of the weapons and the shipment to Vietnam. Lawndale tells Colonel Track that the shipment will have to wait. And we know that at this time, finally, what are these weapons going for? They're going to Vietnam to help Vietnam.
The communists.
Yeah. Defend themselves or whatever. So this
my
is
people need
where
these
the
weapons
international
now.
part comes in. Yeah.
Oh. International skateboard crime drama.
Yeah.
Brian meets Tina at her house, and he snoops around, he's like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. And she's like, all right.
Yeah, the first thing he does is goes into her dad's bedroom.
And immediately starts stealing. Like, he shoves his hat under his shirt. Like, I'm going to use this later.
Yeah.
Was it a Rams hat?
It was a Rams hat.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like some Vietnamese shit.
No, it's definitely an LA Rams hat, and his lighter, his Zippo lighter.
Oh, yeah. That was engraved to show that from Vietnam.
He put it in his pocket, and she was looking right at him when he did.
She's so dumb.
Yeah.
Tina, you're so dumb. How'd you date someone like Vinny? After he gets the lighter, he goes back to Westpac, Brian does, and he breaks in, tricks these security guards with what? What does he do? It's like, firecrackers. He lights some firecrackers, and the guards are like, huh? It's like Metal Gear Solid shit.
Yeah, right?
So the guards come over, and like, he entraps them in this weird mobile,
Like a little room,
enclosure.
control room or something.
Yeah. And like locks them in there. And in the meantime, takes this gas can, lights it with the lighter that he stole, puts it on his skateboard, and like rolls it right into a fuel tank, which blows up.
Yeah.
So cops show up along with Lucero. Ed Lawndale is there, and he gets on the phone with Colonel Track.
When somewhere in this whole scene, Brian throws Colonel Track's hat right by the explosion to make it look like it's a setup. So then when Lawndale and Track meet, Lawndale's like, what the hell is going on here?
He's like, I know you're a goddamn Rams fan.
So I'd expect this from the Raiders.
Raider Nation.
They talk on the phone is what's happening. He basically blackmails him. He's like, yeah, well, you know what happened to Bobby Nguyen? That can happen to anyone. And like, yeah, so like, this is getting real heavy here. Lucero comes to Brian's house, talks to him about the arson, and they have a little back and forth, and the trust is broken between Lucero and Brian. It's like, Lucero says something like, you know how I was the only person in the entire world that would listen to you? Well, I'm not anymore. You didn't leave it up to the cops.
They wouldn't listen, though. Sometimes, Scooby-Doo, you gotta get into the van, you know? You gotta monk around in that fucking haunted ghost ship, you know?
You gotta get down to the bottom of this.
Yeah.
And if the fucking cops aren't gonna do it, who's gonna do it?
Also, is this LAPD one of the most crooked, law-breaking...
I believe it is.
Yeah. Break some laws to fucking catch the lawbreakers, you know what I'm saying?
Fuck the police. Fuck them. Okay, with that phone call also, like, Colonel Track tells his wife to take Tina and go somewhere safe.
Yeah, just go hide.
The wife freaks out, and Tina actually sneaks out of wherever they're staying, and comes to Brian's house, and they talk about the arson. She also tells him about her dad's troubles, and they do a little bit more talking. Tina goes back home and confronts her dad after Brian and Tina talk. Finally, the truth comes out. The colonel tells Tina, like, yeah, I'm doing this all for Vietnam. And she's like, I don't care. You know, if I was Brian, I would do the same thing. There's a lot of short scenes in a row here. Track calls Lawndale and tells him about Brian. Lawndale says, you know what you have to do. And Track's like, no, I'm out, and hangs up. And then we see Lawndale, and he's like, well, I'm not.
Yeah, Lawndale snaps.
I'm a kid killer. Get out of the way.
Done it 3 times now. Now it becomes basically Lawndale versus Brian, and Brian is going to go after Lawndale. Mm-hmm. And he goes over to Yabo's house, and he gets like this sick skateboard made that's like made out of steel, which doesn't make any sense.
Awesome.
But it's awesome.
It looks so good.
And he gets like these really like high powered, like the fastest wheels you could have. And they're sitting there jiggling with the trucks to make sure they're tight enough. And so that he could skitch behind like a race car going 70 down the freeway. and then the whole time, Lawndale is just like chasing him around with motorcycles.
Yeah, like 3 goons show up.
Yeah. So then right before all this goes down, like Brian gets in the car with Lucero. And he's like, you need to get on, like, this is going down. You need to get some backup and whatever. And just at that moment, like, the Pizza Hut truck pulls up. Is it Buddy that drives for Pizza Hut?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, but all of the skater crew is in there. And he was like, you got your backup, I've got mine. And so, like, all of a sudden, it's just like they're going full force after Lawndale.
Before that, actually, Tina's dad gets shot by Greendale. and this is still in the house. Brian crashes through the front window.
Oh, yeah.
Or through the back window. Colonel Track gets shot by Greendale. He takes Tina as hostage. And another dude he takes hostage and has them go into a cop car to flee the scene. And that's where we go into when he gets in there with Lucero.
Yeah.
Brian goes with Lucero to chase after them. And then that just going back to, address some of the plot there. But you're right. Yeah. Pizza Hut dudes. And you're like, there's that stunt in there where he skateboards underneath the truck.
Yeah. Yeah.
18-wheeler.
He's sketching and then he lets go of that car and he ducks under a semi while they're both going, 65, 70 miles an hour on the freeway in
Such
LA.
a badass
And then he
trick.
connects up over to the Pizza Hut guys.
Oh man, that stunt is so cool. And I guess that was done in real life. It was no CG or anything. I mean, it's 89, but I mean.
Lawndale's about to shoot him, and Brian, out of nowhere, he just soars through the air with the skateboard, knocks out Lawndale and injures him, and then Lawndale gets caught. And then to wrap it up at the hospital, Brian tries to comfort Tina in the wake of her father's death and suggests that they go to school together, and then hoping that his relationship with Tina will continue. Basically, they end up just visiting Vin's grave as the movie comes to a conclusion.
Yeah, we see a little bit of a scene with him and Lucero. They kind of become buddies. I forget what the last line is, but it's more of that dickish father type of, I care for you, but I'm a dick, type of bonding. And yeah, we see the credits. So that's the end of the movie.
And then he kissed Tina and went, checkmate, bro.
Oh! Vin is spinning in his grave.
Oh, shit.
So what'd you guys think? Pretty good movie, I guess.
I like it.
It's cheesy.
It is cheesy. I mean, there's worse 80s international skateboarding crime drama thrillers that are out there.
Has
But
high
not
watchability.
many. But not many.
It has high watchability. I would rate it with what's the movie Repo Man? I would put it up there
sure.
it's you don't want to watch it every week, but once every 10 years maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be better. I think it would be more enjoyable to watch with a group of friends while you're sitting around drinking, not on a Wednesday night when you're, eating Chinese food by yourself. Lonely with the lights off.
Or driving in your car with it in your phone mounted.
Like you never coming over here.
No, I wasn't, but yeah, I was.
So I have a little bit more notes here. The making of Gleaming the Cube was included as a DVD extra in the U.S. when it was released in 1999. That was 6 minutes. So, it was included, though.
It was entirely the setup shot for the sketching under the semi.
I'm sure it was.
This shot was real. This is what we did.
We're going to prove it. The soundtrack, man, there weren't many songs on the soundtrack, maybe 6 or 7. And the only punk band of note that was on the soundtrack was the Dickies. And they did a song called Stukas Over Disneyland. So I thought that was kind of weird, a movie about fucking skateboarding and punks.
Yeah.
You'd think that there would be more punk music.
Well, especially because they're wearing, DRI shirts and Cramps shirts.
Yeah,
and
suicidal tendencies.
Yeah, and at one point he's Brian's wearing a Peace Sells, but who's buying Megadeth shirt.
Yo.
So yeah, there should have been more of that genre music in there. But yeah, you're right. It was a little bit left off.
It was all keyboard, atmospheric kind of.
Yeah. And there's also 80s pop in there.
Yeah,
right.
It just didn't make any sense.
Totally.
Also, this was referenced in quite a few. This movie, for being not making any money and kind of being thrown under the bus by critics and stuff, it was actually referenced in a lot of different things. Mystery Science Theater 3000 referenced it a couple of times in 2 different episodes. Both Servo and Crow reference, is that anything like Gleaming the Cube? And in The Simpsons, it was also referenced in 2 different episodes. Shelby'sville groundskeeper says, "Slow down, you sidewalk surfing cube gleamers."
That's brilliant.
And then in the episode To Survell with Love,
Cube gleamers.
"Stop gleaming that cube" is also said.
That's
A few other things of note. Original Z-Boy Stacy Peralta who you might know from Paulo
Dr.
Peralta
Oh, sure.
Skateboard Company.
Yeah.
He was a skating technical advisor for the movie.
Yeah.
You can see that there are a lot of the, like, especially when they get on the plane, they're throwing up Powell stickers on the airplane windows.
Yes, yeah.
Couple of little Easter eggs, if you will. Mike McGill is in the movie as a stunt skater, and you will see that Brian is also skating on a Mike McGill deck. Tony Hawk skating on a Tony Hawk deck.
Oh.
Made by Powell, I believe. Powell
It is,
was his first
yep.
sponsor, as
Yep.
I read in his book.
Yep. Skater, great at the time, Gator Mark Rogowski. He was the stunt double for Brian and did all of his big moves and things. He is in jail for rape/murder.
Oh, Jesus.
And he's next parole.
Which was first?
Opportunity is 2018. He, to make it a very quick story, because it's not anything really to do with the movie, he broke up with a girlfriend, met up with a girl that he went to high school with. Somehow he got all worked up and he became like a born again and wasn't drinking. But then him and this girl started drinking wine and he ended up like strangling her raping her and killed her. And he put her in.
This is terrible.
Yeah, put her in a bag and yeah, that's pretty much it. But he was then diagnosed with bipolar disorder and is in prison.
Well, that was a real upper note.
Yeah, so you can edit that how you will.
Right.
You know,
I didn't think it was going to go like that.
Well, when I told you it happened that he's in jail for rape/murder.
No, you said murder first before we were talking.
Okay.
Well, then you brought it up. Yeah, you did.
all right, something else about Gator is that he did the under the truck scene with the skateboard. So, nice. Hey, a lot can happen to a human in their life, and it's a shame that he killed and murdered some girl.
It's kind of
Just a couple of other big
killed
names
and raped some girl.
that for stunt skaters, and if you were into skateboarding at the time, you would know some of these names. Rodney Mullen, Nodis Compass, who was a guy who all my friends thought was incredible because if you spell Nodis backwards, you get Satan.
Oh,
So we were all into that. Lance Mountain and Mike Valley were some big names. So a lot of the members of like the Bones Brigade appear in the crew. And future singer of the Aquabats and creator of Yo Gabba Gabba, Christian Jacobs,
oh, nice.
is also in the film as Grimmick.
Oh, sure. Okay. That's crazy. What a connection. Yeah. That's, wow. I have something here. Former pro skater Tommy Guerrero. He was the one that made $500 per day teaching Christian Slater how to skateboard.
Nice.
$500 a day. Back in 89.
all went to weed.
Shit, yeah. Oh, yeah, weed.
Like
Couple
the skating,
brewskis.
you know, the skating world was like really small back then. So like they were like, yeah, hire all of our friends. That's probably how it went. You know, it's just
I'm
like,
sure.
yep, fuck yeah, skateboarding movie, bring them in.
The casting director probably had the easiest job then.
Totally, just all those kids hanging over there. Yeah, come on, get them over here.
All right, guys, we covered the movie. We're going to go on to the game next. We've got Skate or Die 1 and 2. See you after the break. All right, welcome back, everyone. We are drinking more of that Brenner brew.
Yeah, City Fox. Let's do it.
I have
Mine's gone.
I have Star Baby IPA here. It's fantastic. It's a very tasty beer. We have a game here, 2 games actually. The first one we're going to talk about is Skate or Die. I have some facts for you. Skate or Die was developed and published by Electronic Arts in 1988. They published it for the Sinclair ZX Spectrum, Commodore 64, the Atari ST, Apple IIGS, Amstrad CPC, and IBM compatibles running MS-DOS. So that's quite a few systems that they made it for, but what we want to talk about here is the NES, and that got ported over by Konami and published by Ultra Games, which was a subsidiary of Konami. Ultra was just basically Konami with the same name, or a different name. And that was used because Nintendo only allowed 5 titles per year to be published onto the NES. But Konami was an exception, and what they did was create Ultra Games so they could publish 10 titles a year.
It's because they stuck to a strict code.
Yeah.
The Konami code.
Oh!
I caught it right before, but you didn't have to say the Konami part.
They made Turtles 2, actually, which is also a phenomenal game.
Yeah, I agree. The music was composed by Rob Hubbard, and he was pretty well known. He was a British composer, best known for composition of computer game theme music. He did music for over 75 games between 85 and 89.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he started out in Gremlin Graphics in 85 with a demo, and then he moved to America in 88 to work for Electronic Arts as a composer, and he did the music for Populous, The Immortal, the first John Madden football,
Sweet.
Road Rash 1 and 2, and Desert Strike. Hey, good games. Good music, too. His game Knuckle Busters includes a
jerk-off simulator?
It includes a 17-minute opus, so maybe it was a jerk-off simulator.
More like a gropus.
Depending on how long the scene you're watching is.
There was a canceled remaster or sequel in 2002. Criterion Games, they were working on a remaster, and they spent like an entire year on it, but then it got canceled, and then they did Burnout 3. So we could have had a newer version of Skate or Die, but
we're talking Burnout, like recent.
Yeah, Burnout.
Dude, the game where you purposely crash cars?
Yes.
I fucking love that.
Oh, that game's awesome, yeah. So, other than that, take us through some more of the points there, Corey.
All right, so you start out the game of Skate or Die in this store, and you meet store owner. His name is Rodney Recluse. And, I don't know, he's like this older guy. He's got a mohawk, and you kind of move this cursor around. And while doing so, there's a bunch of, hip skater terms that are in there.
Yeah.
And, and it says like, you checking out my do as you look at his mohawk on the cursor, and then he's got a tattoo that says Simplify or Die.
Yeah.
And then,
there's a few phrases when you go over his mouth too.
and those kind of randomize, and, little different, tips and things. But then you can click over and you can look at the high scores, which don't save, obviously. So that's kind of a waste of time. Then you can go and you put yourself in. Now, what's kind of neat, I believe you can put up to 8 players, so you can turn it into a party game. And I know that as a kid, my friends would come over and 5 or 6 of us would all play, and we'd take turns, and we enjoyed that. I think I would now just rather bang myself against the wall than play this game. Maybe play some Knuckle Busters. But the different games you can play, and this is similar to, I don't know, a California Games type.
Which is fantastic.
Actually, one thing I do want
California
to
Games
say
is great.
by Epix. Yeah, the Epix developed that, and this is some of the same team from the California Games.
Oh,
okay,
and so on and so forth. Yeah.
That makes sense, and
does.
there's a part that I'll touch on later. But you're gonna go to do the freestyle, so you're gonna go to the half pipe, and then you're gonna go to the high jump. There's a thing called the jam, and then there's a downhill race, and there's a joust. And I think between the 3 of us, we'll just kind of take turns running it through. I'll start with the freestyle part. I have this on emulator, and so I'm just kind of playing by memory, and I'm sure that there was an instructional guide that told you how to do things. But let me tell you, doing 360s or 540s, basically any spin move is fucking impossible.
It's terrible.
Every time I tried, I'd be like, oh, I'm lined up, I'm good. Nope, crash. And then I would try to do something else. Nope, crash. You get 10 turns, so this part of the game is over in about 30 seconds. But, if I can't do this on a video game, then fucking Bob Burnquist, for example, his stock just soars at how good he really is, because I'm just a guy doing something on a controller, and this guy's actually out there doing it for real. I really just can't imagine trying to do that when I'm sitting on my couch and I'm still struggling and ready to just throw my controller against my television screen. I got really good at doing hand plants, but that was the only thing that I figured out how to do regularly.
You're emulating, but do you have a gamepad?
No, I do.
Oh, okay.
I've got the Wii.
Okay. Oh, I see what you're saying. I thought you meant on a PC emulating. Sorry.
No, I've got a Wii. So
I emulated it on PC with a gamepad.
Okay.
That makes it easier.
And then, but it's really funny because you crash, and I don't know if you guys notice this, stuff just goes everywhere as soon as you crash.
Yeah.
When we were growing up, we were like, are those just all of his drugs that just fall out of his pocket? Things are just kind of scattered everywhere. And we would just be like, There's his drugs.
There they go.
That's why he fell. He was on drugs. Kids don't do drugs.
I think one thing that I want to touch on before we go down through all these, one of the things that made this fucking so irritating was every single one of these events has a different control scheme. How the fuck are you going to play the game when the control scheme, it switches from event to event?
It's very clumsy,
oh my God,
to say the least.
And the fucking summer games had the same shit. That it had different control schemes. So you're talking about not pulling off 540s, 720s. Well, that's because it's different than when you you have to push the direction of the ramp that you're on to land it, and an A button, and what the fuck? And in the next event, it's completely different, completely. So controls for this game are the worst thing in the world. If this would have been a game where the controls were halfway decent, this wouldn't have been such a terrible game.
Yeah.
Quite a popular game for its time, though, too.
Oh, it was. It was very popular.
It's awful, given time and stuff, but yeah, given time. Actually, so I never owned the game, but Mark Peterson, who I have to believe has been on this podcast before.
Oh, yeah.
They had this game.
Twice.
And there was a dude that I went to school with. He had this game, and you'd go over to people's houses, and they're really awesome at it, and they're like, "Here you go. You try it once, and you suck ass." They're like, "Yeah, just give me the controller," and you're like, "Oh, all right."
That's pretty much sums up my childhood.
Yeah,
I was really good at about
time.
6 games, and then every other game I just left my friends' houses in just a piss poor anger.
Glad I watched them play.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, the territorialings of when someone would come over and play the NES.
Oh yeah.
Game. That first player controller was coveted gold, baby.
I was also the little brother, so just getting your hands on it was like.
Yeah, you're already getting the shit beat out of you, and then you finally get to play, and then you get laughed at.
Yeah, pretty much.
Damn.
I bought Skate or Die for 80 cents from the Hartford, Wisconsin St. Vinny's, and I think I played it once.
Yeah.
It's garbage.
I don't blame you.
It's a terrible game.
Yeah, all you have to do is play it once.
I choose Die.
Played it. Yeah.
All right, we're talking about controls a little bit. The high jump here, which is the next event, the high jump has different controls. Basically, you're just trying to get air, and the control pad, you repeatedly press left and right directions to gain speed. So that's where I think a lot of people, they might have been pressing the buttons.
I remember pressing A a lot.
Yeah, tap in A.
And I seem to remember, and I didn't get a chance to try it, but that if you had a second controller, player 2 could really help you get going.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
By just going back and forth.
Oh,
and so we would assist each other in trying to get high air. However, I don't remember if that's true, so maybe I'm just making this stuff up.
It's like Sonic 2. Or maybe you guys wanted to believe that because you made one of your friends sit on the couch and watch while you played. Yeah, dude, pick up the controller and it helps.
All right, the jam. What's the jam?
All right, so the jam is this event where you're basically going down some kind of back alley.
Yeah, it's the downhill jam is the full name of it.
Yeah, and you're taking on Lester, who's Rodney's son, and Lester's another punk rock type. But you go down, and the objective is that you can kind of kick and punch each other as you're going down this hill on skateboards. You're trying to go off of little jumps. You're trying to avoid each other. You're trying to smash bottles. And all the while...
It reminds me of...
And all the while, the only thing
Yeah.
you're really only doing is just crashing into a fence.
Yep, over and over.
Over and over, because the controls are so fucking clumsy, as Tony had said, that it's just irritating. And when you finally do get to move, it's not at a diagonal, it's just a straight left and right. And so then you just bounce against the wall and you come back, and then guess where you are? Crashing into that fence. So the entire thing takes about 20 seconds. And really the best part about it, though, is at the end there's a finish line and there's a cop car. And if you know what you're doing, you can ollie up to the cop car and it'll start going off. So that's pretty cool. But the reason it's cool...
You get points for that, too.
Yeah, you get points. And the reason that it's really cool is because you know that you're done with the jam.
Yeah.
So here are the controls in
that's
jam.
it.
The control pad controls direction and used to go forward. A button used to punch, kick, jump, or duck with directional pad. Punch, left direction with A button. Kick, right direction with A button. Jump, up direction with A button. And duck, down direction with A button. It's actually only the control pad and the A button. But, because there's regular and goofy foot as well, if you do goofy foot, if you press up, that means to go forward. Okay?
Right.
And you have to hit A to turn. If you have, like the normal settings, you hit down to go forward. And you are traveling down.
Right.
You're traveling down the screen. So, I mean, it's like an overhead view. You're traveling down. And, so this is a completely different control scheme than both the freestyle and the high jump. And fucking frustrating. Next one is the downhill. This one takes, about 20 seconds as well. I mean, these are all.
You can get through this entire game in seriously 6 to 7 minutes. All the events.
In torturous 20-second increments.
Yeah, and this game was what? $49.99 when it came out?
Yeah, my parents spent hours playing
They
it.
probably wanted to beat you with the NES, like, or whirl a controller around and leave a giant
think that they just
rectangle.
thought that if I was happy, that they were happy.
Fair enough. Yeah, maybe that might have been it.
So basically, the jam and the downhill have the same control method. You can skate through a pipe if you want. You basically end up crashing on everything unless you know exactly what you're doing. And as a kid, I never knew what I was doing. Even as an adult, played this yesterday, got so fucking fed up.
Oh, yeah.
God damn it, I just wanted to turn it off, but I'm like, I gotta play it more for the podcast.
It's
You
brutal.
Well, don't you wish you could, like, force the creators to, like, sit down and play it and be like, you have to play this.
Or, like,
Yeah.
play it
Yeah.
now.
like, force them.
Like, you get 10 years off, and then we're going to ask you to play this game again.
Every 10 years for the rest of their life,
and
they
then
have
we're
to
gonna
play
see
through the game.
how you feel about it now.
You assholes.
I wanted to kill myself last time. Why are you making me do this again?
The joust kind of goes in with the freestyle and the high jump. Tell us about the joust, Corey.
Yeah, you're in a pool, an empty pool, and there's 3 different characters you can take on. There's Poser Pete, and he says he's new to jousting, so, give the guy a break. My biggest question is, why is he going around calling himself Poser Pete?
Yeah, it's like
How does he tolerate that and not just go postal on these other guys that
to be a
are...
poser in the
Right.
skateboarding world is huge, and so
Yeah.
that's maybe the biggest one.
Yeah, you definitely do not want to be...
You definitely don't get to hang.
No.
No, not
No.
at all, ever.
Then there's Agro Eddie, and he's kind of like this skate punk guy. And you better know your stuff before you take him on, he tells you.
You better.
And finally, there's Lester, who's, the local talent, if you will.
Rodney's son.
And he just says, skate or die!
Yeah.
And it's handwritten on the screen, like everything else is in, some kind of a font. And it just says skate or die, all like...
He breaks all the rules.
Yeah, he does. He's just total anarchist. And what's funny is that even though that Lester is the toughest guy to beat, the joust is so fucking easy, and you have to knock your opponent off 3 times to win, and you can basically do it in 3 turns.
I think last time I played, I failed every time, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
but,
even against Poser Pete, I was like,
yeah, I think he kicked the shit out of me, Poser Pete.
We had a theory that actually Poser Pete might have been harder than Lester.
Oh, a little trickery.
But I can't confirm or disconfirm that. But yeah, as I was saying, you get through this entire thing in 7 minutes.
this game is shit. It's complete trash. I wanted to never play it again. I would throw this game off of my balcony right now if it was in front of me.
Don't you wish you had like 80 of them and then like a little clay tosser and a shotgun
Oh
so you
my
could go
God.
pull and shoot every copy that's ever been made?
You know, there was a petition about Shaq Fu where the get your copies of Shaq Fu, and they were destroying each and every one of them.
Would you get to watch a video of yours get destroyed?
Oh, I don't know
Like,
about any of that. But
here we have Tom McCaskill from Boise, Idaho. Here, we're going to destroy your copy. That'd be kind of badass, you know? Like,
it would be.
they open your letter. Oh, that'd be great.
Please destroy this, please. Alright guys, we're going to move on to Skate or Die 2. That is...
Also garbage.
yes,
There are
better.
some improvements.
It's better, but this is the search for Double Trouble. And what Double Trouble is the ramp. That's just, actually...
The half
like-
pipe.
There's a symmetrical quarter pipe that's built into the half pipe so that you can go and you can hit the ramp, basically have 2 lips.
Yeah, it's like 2 screens long, too.
Right. Yeah.
which is nice. Let me take you through a little bit of the info on this one. Skate or Die 2, The Search for Double Trouble is an action-adventure game that's only on the NES. So where the first one was ported or made for all those different fucking computers and bullshit, this was this is just for the NES, baby. Came out in 1990, developed and published by Electronic Arts and ported by Ultra Games, which again, as I covered, is a subsidiary of Konami. So it was basically ported by Konami. It's well known for successfully using digitized vocals, which are everywhere in the game. You go, front to back, and there's
Yeah, and they're
talking.
clear. It's not like Double Dribble where it's like, rah, 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 rah.
Yeah, they are clear.
It's clear. You can hear what they're saying.
So back then, it was really huge to hear like talking in a video game. You get all jazzed up, like, whoa, they talked!
To hear it as
Holy
like
shit.
a real voice, and that's not a robot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. No, it was great, and that was again composed by Rob Hubbard. So he outdid himself from the first tune, or from the first game. And one thing we didn't talk about in the first game, the music was fucking stellar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is again in this game, and that's all thanks to Rob Hubbard.
One thing to note about Rob Hubbard is his grandfather created Scientology. Actually, he's L. Rob Hubbard. I know you want to punch me for that one, but
Dude,
felt good.
I was drinking some Brenner Brew here.
I know he's coming with the real facts. Oh, he's full of shit again.
Yeah, I was going to say that while that music is great with the voiceovers, that's where the budget ended.
For real. For real. The skater on the box was Jeff Whitehead, who was also, at the time he was unknown, but he went on to be a prolific skateboarder. Yeah, but other than that, that's what I have for info here. This game is like an action adventure. It takes a totally different look at, skating, and boy, does it fail.
Oh, yeah. But besides the fact that it's completely a skateboarding-based game, the skateboard itself is pretty much, not important.
Oh
Yeah, you're skating around like an open-air mall and shit.
Besides it being clumsy, you can kind of ollie, but you're not, doing tricks. You're just moving to get from point A to point B.
You're doing menial tasks that are totally pointless.
Yeah,
Go to
right.
this place, talk to this guy. Go to this place,
Right.
talk to that guy.
Yeah, I mean, you're picking up, CDs, tacos, cassette tapes.
Yeah, all these things that, outside of tacos, that are no longer relevant in today's world.
Yes. No.
Absolutely.
The characters in this game, they bring back Rodney and Lester.
Explain what these characters do.
Rodney's the skate shop owner.
Rodney's a skate shop owner, but when you run into Rodney, you can upgrade your board.
Yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
come to me if you need any cool gear.
Yeah, and all he sells you is
If you need a sick board,
Right.
bro.
Yeah, so you
which-
can upgrade 5 different times.
Which proved to be meaningful.
Yes, very
Um,
meaningful. If
you
you want to
can-
get anywhere in the game.
You can go to his son Lester, and he will, for a couple of tacos, he'll teach you a new skate trick, which you'll never use.
Yeah,
And
none
I
of them
never
are.
figured out how to use it.
Oh, I got the controls right here. Let me, so you press select and you're brought to the screen where you can pick from the moves that you learn. And, basically it's up and B, forward and B, and down and B. And that's how you select what you're doing. You press right multiple times to go right, left multiple times to go left, and you can go faster the more times you
Okay.
press it, depending on the board that you get.
Gotcha.
The last board, you can really get fast. That's what those two do.
That's
anyway.
those two. There's CJ, who, they don't let you
It's the
know.
Little Mermaid.
It's,
What the fuck is with that?
yeah.
In the intro
looks
screen?
just like the Little Mermaid.
Wait, what was Corey saying?
Totally.
Yeah, totally.
You don't really know if that's just your friend or a girlfriend, but she's definitely prominent role there. Mr. Jenkins, who you meet in the second level, and he does something within the mall. He has all sorts of inns, and he wants you to deliver things all over the place.
That's right, yeah.
And then there's this other guy, his name is Ice Pick.
Yep. And he's like the main villain.
He's
Yeah, he's
scary
the main
looking. He's a
villain.
big skinhead guy.
Yeah.
And he's also, he's just a total piece of shit.
Yeah.
So, then there's the main character, you.
You. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't even get a name.
You look like Dieter or something. I don't know. Oh, that's too inside baseball here.
You're the hero, but you don't get a name. You just go by you.
Yeah.
The hero.
The hero.
Downtown hero, if
So,
you will.
I'm just going to go through the plot a little bit here. The game opens with a cutscene that places the story in the fictional town Elwood. And going off for a skateboard ride, the hero, unnamed hero, is distracted by Ice Pick, and this causes him to run over the mayor's wife's poodle,
Yeah.
and therefore banning skateboards in the
whole
of
town,
Elwood. Yeah.
Now, let me just, I have a dog. Gary, you have a dog. Anything ever comes near my dog, he jumps out of the way.
My dog is terrified of the vacuum cleaner on like a hardwood floor. A skateboard would have him like, oh,
Yeah.
and he's bigger than 10 skateboards.
And meanwhile, the mayor's wife is just looking out at the beautiful weather.
Yeah.
She also looks like a character from a Far Side cartoon.
She does.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, that's a
It's
good.
ridiculous. Yeah, but so the skateboard runs over her dog, and then the mayor's like, no more skateboards.
Yeah. Well, they show the cutscene,
So they want
and
to
the
get a
mayor's
ramp.
wife. It's just like
I've got a picture.
it's just like blah blah blah, and he's like, "Yes, dear, yes, dear."
It was funny.
Well, then it says splat. It just says splat behind her, so it's almost like she shit her pants. Yeah.
In reality, the dog is being killed by a skateboard.
Good. It was a stupid dog.
Yeah, oh, Fifi. Come on. You name your dog fucking Fifi, by the way. Oh, there it is. We're looking at exactly what Gary said. A picture of her with the word splat behind
you
her.
start at the first level, and you really don't know what you're exactly supposed to be accomplishing. But the first thing you notice is that right after they ban skateboarding, every fucking person on the street is on a skateboard.
Except the cop.
Nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah.
It's just total like anarchy out there.
Dogs are
Dogs are running
fucking
wild.
Dogs. That's terrible. Like first of all, your control is so bad. You cannot stop on a dime, and these dogs will just come up to you, bite you, take away like one of your health points, and then bolt back.
Right.
You cannot kill them.
Yeah.
You want to kill the dogs?
Yes, I do.
I think you're allowed to ollie on them, but
Along with the rats in the sewers. Yes.
Yeah.
Giant rats, by the way.
Basically, this entire level, all you're doing is kind of skating from left to right, and you can pick up CDs and tapes, and maybe you run into Lester and learn a new trick, or get a new board from Rodney.
Mm-hmm.
They ripped off Mario because you can jump into the sewers and go and get more, like, soda cans or whatever.
Sure. You can also go into doors.
And you
I
can go
always
to doors.
get my sodas out of the sewers, too.
Fuck yeah.
And,
This is Charlie from It's Always Sunny. Don't go in the sewers.
and so then eventually you go into one of those doors, and the boss's wife is there, and she's just waving around a purse.
Yeah.
And so now...
rolling pins.
Oh, yeah, and rolling pins.
Oh, how stereotypical. What should we have her attack with? Rolling
Yeah.
pins.
What should she
She
have
loves
had?
to
An
bake.
Uzi?
She's an old lady who loves to bake.
Yeah, she rolled up a newspaper.
She's June Cleaver in 20 years.
For real. Oh, God, it's terrible. So after you beat her with your...
But you have to shoot her.
Let's talk about, what you shoot.
You shoot everybody in this game.
Yeah, you're just shooting her with a gun.
It's a paint gun, right?
With a,
Yeah, you
I
spray-
believe it's a paint gun.
It says spray.
And-
Or no, it says paint.
But after you shoot her enough times, her body disappears and her head just falls to her
Yes.
legs. like,
Well, you really got her.
yeah, what the fuck?
Dude, now you're wanted for murder.
Right. Yeah. So much for your skateboard carear.
So you've
It's
killed...
because they didn't skate, so they had to die.
So not only did you kill the dog, but also the mayor's wife. Now
Kill
that's
everybody.
two deaths.
They're not
yeah.
skating, fuck them.
Yeah, fuck them. So,
Don't you throw eggs, too? Or am I
there's
mistaken?
eggs.
Yeah.
Yep, there's
Yeah.
eggs.
Yeah, it feels good to
Firecrackers.
throw eggs at stuff. Yeah, you know?
The second cutscene shows the aftermath of the showdown. The hero leads to the local half pipe, only to find it being demolished. He's confronted by a construction worker who informs the hero that since the half pipe was built without a permit, it must be torn down. And they ask why and what they're supposed to do, and the construction worker just replies that, get a job so you can buy a building permit. Or take up knitting. So, the second level is,
So now you're in the mall. CJ has this brilliant idea that they need people to deliver things from store to store within the mall. So basically, you're on a clock of around 2 minutes, and you go around from store to store, just going into the store, and then they go, now we need you to go to Taco Hut. And then you go to Taco Hut, and they're like, now you need to go to Men's House Shoes.
yeah, it's a weird fetch quest, pretty
And
much.
then, and you just go up and down the escalator. And
Just
go,
lids.
And,
Just lids. Yeah, it's
And-
2 minutes between each
Rhinestone jewelry.
Yeah.
job.
And
And
so-
there's 2 levels to the mall.
Yeah, and so you just go up and down the escalator delivering things, and it's so fucking boring.
Yeah, it's tedious. You need to, this is one of the places I remember as a kid, making a map and putting all the,
Right.
businesses
It
on
paid
it.
off.
Because if you were late, I believe 5 times out of, I think you had to be on time maybe 6 or 7. But if you were late 5 times, game over.
Game over.
But if you're not, you get like $100,000 to build that super ramp.
And then the game's over.
Costs
False.
so much money. I'm just saying, in real life, you would need so much money for this fucking birdie. Yeah, just make like 8 deliveries and you'll be able to afford this building permit and the ramp.
Yeah, no shit. Building permit, really? Maybe in the town of Elwood.
Yeah.
Right.
Fictional town of Elwood, it only costs what?
$750.
Yeah, $750. Well, actually, it'd have to cost more than that because when they pool their money together in the beginning of the game, it all totaled up to about $8. And they're like, this is all we have. So, what the fuck? How much does each job pay? Like $200 for delivery?
Yeah, have to be a lot.
This is unrealistic.
I mean, I was a delivery driver and I did not get paid that much.
Well, you were delivering the wrong shit.
Yeah.
You know?
So after that's done, you were delivering the wrong
You gotta
shit.
be an inter-mall delivery guy.
Yeah, that's where I'm going tomorrow after work.
The people at Cold Stone Creamery need that Jamba Juice, alright?
Well, I plan on showing up with my birdhouse t-shirt and going to Mayfair and seeing what I can do.
Skateboard around?
Yeah.
Crazy taxi!
Yeah.
Take me to Tower Records. It's closed.
Take me to the original Levi's company.
So now the
Offspring place.
next cut screen is that you go and you visit Rodney.
Yep.
And not only does Rodney own a skate park, but apparently he's an architect. And so he designs your skate ramp. And he goes, hey, why don't you turn on the light so that I can show you your ramp? And when you turn on the light, you really just turn on a fan. And the blueprints all just go right out the window.
He had his window.
He has a fan, and then he has a desk, and then he has a window.
And 2 lights.
And it's just, and then it just, everything just goes out the window.
No, not that one.
And he does nothing while they're all flying out. He's like, no, not that one. As you
Go get them.
Right. I'm not going to stop these. I'm just going to watch. It's like when you spill a beer and you just watch it for like 3 seconds, like, oh shit, that just happened. And then you grab it, except for he never grabbed it.
He's kind of like, hey man, you want the ramp more than I do. Go get those.
Yeah. You think my fat ass is getting up and doing anything?
So
I'm gonna
now,
start on a new plan.
Yeah, we're taking to the beach.
yeah, now we're on the beach.
The beach.
Life's a beach. And so, you're out there and you find yourself being warped into California Games
Hey.
roller skating level.
Oh shit, I didn't even
It's
realize. Yeah, totally.
Like almost fucking identical.
Yeah.
And you can see where the crossover was between the Ultra team and the
Epix team.
you don't have to
Epix
like jump
team.
over ropes or whatever the fuck. You
No,
know?
but you do have to jump over cracks and sand.
That's true.
There's seagulls that
dodge
dive by.
birds. Yeah.
This level is so annoying.
It looked so much like Venice Beach or something.
And as
Yeah,
a kid, I didn't realize it, but I was always like, I can't fucking skateboard onto the sand. If you give yourself enough time, these plans will start blowing around, and then you have to go chase them down. And again, you're just moving from point A to point B, and you're not doing really any skateboarding at all.
Avoidance.
Yeah. Except for that,
Sucks.
you're just on a skateboard. That's the only thing that makes it skate or die.
It's just a transportation mode.
Yeah.
There's posing bodybuilders.
Well, until the very end, actually. When you do get to the... Oh, wait, spoiler alert. Sorry, guys.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, we're about ready to get to stage 4 anyway.
By the way, I just want to play that game with Game Genie and just do the ramp over and over and over and over.
Oh,
and
dude,
over.
I
It's fun.
completed this. I completed this game with Game Genie and Game Facts. That's how hard this game is. I tried it twice, and I almost gave up. I'm like, no, let's see if I can do emulation with Game Genie. And then I brought up Game Facts. You're basically in this warehouse, all right?
Should we do the rundown of how the cutscene is first?
Oh yeah, let's do it. Go ahead.
All right, so you get the plans back, and CJ has the plans. And they're all ready to go build the ramp, and then CJ runs into Ice Pick.
Of course.
And Ice Pick is basically like, you don't want to lose those plans, so you know what we're going to do? We're going to kidnap you.
Uh-huh.
And so now, yeah, you need to save CJ, and she's being held in this warehouse. It's full of other skaters, and I was pretty amazed at how many skaters there were, because in my high school, with a graduating class of 350, there was 10 skateboarders in between 1,300 kids or so, and we were all best friends. So I don't know what the fuck happened between you, quote unquote, you, the hero, and Ice Pick, but it must have been fucking brutal that all of a sudden the whole town hates you, and it's just you and CJ and some other dude out to skate and gleam the cube on your own.
I think it's probably Ice Pick's fault.
Yeah, his name alone.
Yeah, he sounds like a bad guy.
Makes me want to hate him.
You know what, though? They never tell you your name, so maybe your name is like... I mean, there's Lester. Maybe you're Mo Lester. I don't know.
Whoa!
You know, who knows? Who knows? Hey,
Hi.
people don't want to be friends with that guy.
Both are spinning.
I'll tell you. Hey!
Yuck, yuck.
And let me tell you a little bit about this level 4 here.
if you thought the Mario maze was hard as a kid,
Oh my god.
well, you are nowhere near ready for this.
I have the GameFAQs page on my phone here already, and so in the fucking level 4, it's so crazy. You're in this warehouse, and the only thing to guide you along is the color of the level that you're on, okay? So I went to GameFAQs, and I'm like, all right, so what do I need to do in level 4? 24 steps to get to the end. I'm not kidding you here. You have to go through 24 different levels. On each screen through this level, there's at least 2 skateboarders.
Yeah.
Like, throwing shit at you.
And 3 or 4
time.
doors to choose from.
Yeah.
It's like 50 skateboarders.
It's like a maze. Yeah. It's crazy. Like, I'm lucky I had infinite health cheat on. There's no way I can't even believe that anyone fucking finished this without the Game Genie. In
So
level
many
15,
smashed controllers.
you go, finally, step 15, level 15, you go up and you find the plans, and they're just in this abandoned room. Like, CJ's not there at all. And then you have to backtrack and go 10 more fucking levels until you meet Ice Pick on the roof. And he's just sitting there, and you see CJ in the corner, and she's like, "How?"
Yeah, and she's, I don't
Why
know,
don't you just get
I don't
the
know if she's
plans and
tied
leave?
up, but yeah, but she's just
Oh,
yelling.
she's tied up. Yeah.
Once you have the plans, why don't you just fuck CJ and fuck Ice Pick? Just leave.
Huh.
Burn the fucking factory down or whatever the
Well,
hell.
so you care about CJ.
Very little.
Again, you don't know if that's like your best friend or your girlfriend, because they don't really specify.
They don't,
Fair
but
enough.
she's definitely a love interest.
Definitely
The
a
Little
cutie.
Mermaid.
Yeah,
She's a
she's
cutie. If
right.
I was-
She looks like the Little Mermaid.
If I was an 8-bit character, oh, let me tell you.
Yikes.
So then, when you face Ice Pick, all he does is fucking charges you like he's Goldberg. He's just like, I'm gonna spear you, and either you get out of the way or you're
He's
gonna go
he
down.
also moves 10 times faster than anything else in the game previously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy. It takes about 15 shots to
Like
bring
a
him down.
Mega Man boss.
So you get your paintball gun going and you shoot him a bunch, and finally you take him out, and then he just yells like "Mama." Like on the
He
screen
does,
it
he
says
does.
it's like "Mom," you know, like what the fuck?
Because they're all teenagers, it
Yeah.
turns out.
That's pretty much the end of the game. And then they do the cut screen again. CJ is fucking super stoked. You just rescued her. She's got no trauma of just being kidnapped and held hostage in top of a warehouse somewhere. Like, I don't understand how that works. But anyways, you build a ramp, and then you guys all, like, you and your crew just kind of stand there and stare at the ramp as the sun goes down.
Yeah, the fireworks go off. So,
Yeah.
that's the end of the game. And wow.
What a miserable time I spent playing and watching that game.
This is,
Me just watching.
I don't know, man. This by far, I mean, it has, like, the nostalgia for me is huge, but this is one of the worst combo of games that I think that I've played in a long time. I didn't think it was this bad.
No, growing up,
It is this
I was
bad, though.
excited because I was like, yeah, I used to play this game a lot. And I started playing it, and I was like, Jesus Christ. When I was a kid, I had way more patience.
Yeah. Oh, we all did, because we only had a couple of games and we would
Yeah.
play them to death, right?
Right.
Even if you had 50 games, if that was the new game, you're like, no, this is the new shit. Fuck that old shit.
Right.
Like, we're going to play the shit out of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
The other part, besides the story mode, though, the redeeming part of this game is that there is a ramp mode. And it's like, of both games, this is the most fun part. Hands down. You can do all sorts of like McTwists and things. And then again, there's that little ramp in the middle that you can do like flips over. If you really get going, CJ's out the window like cheering for you as like
Yeah.
blowing kisses. There's like hearts shooting up. That's between the two games. That's totally where I spent most of my time. That was where the money was made, was just on the ramp mode.
So wait. I just watched that video. Like, I didn't play the fucking game. I watched that video. At the end, it made it seem like after you rescue What's-Her-Face and kill that guy, you get to skate on the ramp that the dude designed. That's what I was putting together in my head.
Mhm.
Is that not what it is?
No,
is it like in the main screen you could go, fuck the story mode and just play the ramp?
Yeah, you hit select.
Oh, brutal.
I know. It says it in the
Who would
instruction
ever play
book,
the
but
story?
it says that you can unlock the ramp after,
Yeah.
you beat it and everything, but
Yeah.
you can just bypass it. It's not an unlockable,
no, it's
quote
there.
unquote.
the same
It's a
thing.
choice.
Yeah, it's,
It's in the select menu.
yeah.
Ugh.
So, and good thing they did that, because no one would have had that ramp otherwise.
No.
They're smart not
No,
to do that.
and by the time
would've-
Impossible!
And by the time you finally spent, 7 years of your life getting through it and just ready to just,
7
like just being so bored out of your mind, being like, God damn it, I'm going to do it. And you get to play it once, and then your Nintendo would freeze up, and then you'd lose all your saved memory anyway. So it's a good thing
Yeah.
that it is there. like I said, it's the best part of the entire franchise. Is just that one ramp.
Indeed. All right, final thoughts, guys.
Well, let's break this down. This was a question that was shot to me from a fellow game and movie podcaster, Trevor Bruskowski.
Oh, hey, Trevor. Trevor. Trevor.
He wanted us.
Trevor.
He wanted us as a team to kind of break down, not necessarily like in full reasoning why, but just what are your favorites between Skate or Die 2, TNC Surf Design, the skate level on California Games, and 720.
Oh, 720 all day. The controls were there.
Yeah, and I never really got a chance to play 720.
Me neither. The California Games one I played extensively.
Yeah.
I liked that.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily like the skateboarding part of California Games.
No, the surfing was
but the
shit,
surfing
though.
was great.
Oh, shit.
I really liked the hacky sack.
BMX.
The BMX was a lot of fun.
yeah.
The BMX on the Atari version is where it was at.
Oh, I never
Because
played
you
that
went
one.
downhill and you could do a bunch of flips and things.
Oh, shit.
But, yeah, I would say, I guess, Skate or Die 2 because of the ramp, but
Yeah.
not the story mode. Then Skate or Die, and then California Games, and then I guess I'll just coin flip the other two. We'll say 720 because it sounds like it's better. And then TNC Surf Design.
Throughout time, I feel like skating, it took so long for a really solid skateboarding game.
Agreed.
Like, skateboarders have been loyal to their fucking sport forever, and they had to go trudge through the shit swamps
Oh, my God.
to finally play like Tony Hawk and be like, this is what we've been waiting for.
Exactly.
Holy shit, they finally made a fucking game you can actually skate and do whatever the fuck
That
you
kind
want
of
to.
comes full circle now because as
Yeah.
a kid, there
Tony Hawk
were
went too
there
far,
were no
though.
skate parks.
True.
You had to
Now
build
they're
your own, and you had
everywhere.
to find your own shit. And most of the time that sucked, and trying to figure out what spots you could go to, and then you'd get chased out of them and whatever.
Yeah, you'd get
now
everywhere.
Now the city's like, oh, do you need money? We will build you one.
Well, all the
Like,
businesses
you
in town are
spoiled
like,
little
please don't.
fucks.
Yeah, towns are like, don't destroy our business's rails. We'll just build you a skate
Right.
park.
Like
What?
And by the time that everybody our age all
were
paid their
50.
dues and was ready to like, we were like, oh, fuck it, we're done with skateboarding. Now all of a sudden all this shit pops up, and if I take one more good fall, my wrist is gonna shatter. Like
My hip is gone. Yeah.
Right, I can't do it anymore.
My
So
ribs.
No more cartilage.
it's funny how the games and real life run parallel.
Totally.
How much do you think that the Skate or Die franchise influenced Tony Hawk?
I don't think it did at all.
I'm
I've
sure
never seen
that-
him joust.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it came
Oh, you mean the
before.
games?
Yeah.
It came before, so we can surmise that obviously a little bit.
Right.
But I don't know. As far as play mechanics, I don't think that much at all.
Yeah.
I don't think so either. I think they would have come up with like a bunch of different levels and then like, well, we can't have it just be skating. We got to give them something to do. So like, interact with the level, like fucking board slide a car, you know?
And I suppose there was really no good way to like pay tribute to an 8-bit NES game using, PlayStation.
You know what they could
So-
have done? They could have had you get off the board, walk into an arcade, and then they would have all these games within the game.
Ooh, that would have been tight.
Which-
That would have been tight, but the licensing,
They
think
could
about
have
Activision was the-
redone it, just
Totally.
enough to make it so it was like a play on.
Activision could fucking probably work that out.
yeah, they have enough money. Fuck.
It's a Tony Hawk franchise, yeah. They actually ruined Tony Hawk games by overdoing all those menial task things.
Right.
And expecting you to like, oh, I have to get 2 trillion points in a 2-minute run, which means I have to do every single trick 850 times while nose manualing, nollying,
Right.
and board sliding everywhere.
But Tony Hawk Underground 1 was great.
That's where they lost me, actually.
I played drums in a band that was on the soundtrack to
Yeah,
Tony
you did,
Hawk.
the Browns.
The Browns.
Yeah.
Was not on the recording, was in the band.
I didn't know you were in the Browns.
Then I got kicked out of the band for undisclosed reasons. Yeah.
Hey, let's not talk about sour grapes here.
No, I'm not. I'm laughing as I said that and smiling.
He is, folks.
Jeff Casey, you're awesome. So, I think that's it, huh?
That might be about it. Hey, we're just going to close this episode out. You guys, great job. Corey, Gary, I had a lot of fun here talking about Gleaming the Cube and Skater Dies. Not really good games and a mediocre movie, but that's the way it goes sometimes.
It was still fun being here, and,
Hell yeah.
and again, thanks for having me.
Of course. Hey, back from the fucking hiatus, back from the dead.
Yeah.
Dang.
This is amazing. I'm
Hopefully these new mics worked out well.
yeah, I'm hoping so too. The editing process will be a lot smoother.
This Brenner Brewery worked out well.
Oh, it
Yes, came together lovely.
did. Heck yeah, we're sponsored, baby.
Cheers.
Fox City Fox Pale Ale. We know what our sponsors' products are called.
Yeah, we definitely do, especially
After 9 of them.
yeah, we're feeling good back here. Let's just close out. Corey, where can people reach you if they want to?
You can find me on Twitter at Corey Plagiarist. That's CoreyPlagiarist. And follow me on there.
Yeah, you'd be talking a lot about teaching some
Yeah,
kids a
I
lesson.
throw out some little teaching anecdotes. I run a lot of one-liners.
Sure.
Maybe I'll talk some Packers stuff in there.
Oh, yeah, we're all fans of the Packers here. And Gary, Gary,
Yes.
the newcomer, the babe.
Oh.
Great show. Where can people reach you at? I know you're a comedian. We didn't talk about this at all, but you definitely do some comedy. Talk a little bit about that.
I've been doing stand-up out of Milwaukee here for 5 years. I just finished a website, GaryZComedy.com.
Nice.
You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Garolb. That's like Gerald with a B, Garolb.
Yes.
I host an open mic at Art Bar every second and fourth Thursday of the month.
And that's in Milwaukee.
That's right. Unless there's a Packer game, definitely we don't get in the way of that.
Gotta respect the Packers.
Hey, go Pack, go. And yeah, I do comedy around the city, around the state, wherever people will have me. I was put on the open mic at the Comedy Cafe in the competition part because there were no showcase spots on the 28th of September here. That's a Wednesday. And I'm supposed to get 5 people to come, and then you're supposed to vote on who you like the most. I don't even give a shit if you come and vote for me, but I'm supposed to have at least 5. And once you show people your comedy, they never show up for anything ever again, so it's impossible to get 5 people to come to anything. So if you would, please come to Comedy Cafe. You'll have a good time. I promise. That's it.
Yeah. Support Gary.
Yes.
If this does come out before then, and if it doesn't, well, you fucking blew it, didn't you?
Hey.
My name is Anthony Schwader. You can reach me on Twitter just under Anthony Schwader, I believe. I don't know. I might be wrong. You might be following some guy that isn't me.
You're at Anthony Schwader.
Okay, at
Yeah.
Anthony Schwader.
It used to be Anthony D.
I tweeted at you yesterday.
Oh, yeah, you did. Not a good way to get a hold of me, but that's ANTHONY, and how you can reach the podcast. Fucking type it up in Google, you idiots. Type up Game and Movie Podcast. We're on, you can like our page on Facebook. We're on Twitter as Game and Movie USA. We're on Instagram. We're on Tumblr. We are on YouTube. We're on SoundCloud. We're on iTunes. We're on, we're on so many different things. Type it up, and chances are we're going to be represented there. I've worked very hard in the branding. I don't know, man. If you need to get a hold of us, please do. Oh, our email address is gameandmovie@gmail.com. So send us questions, correspond with us any which way that you choose. We'll answer it. And, guys, we're fucking back.
Yeah, buddy.
business.
See you later from Game and Movie Podcast, everybody. Skate or die. Die, 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 die. Skate or die. Skate or die. Die, 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 die.